Hi guys, my name is Jenny Medina. I am going to be a second year this fall at UC Irvine, and I want to talk to you guys about study habits since it's one of the main things that I struggled with this first year at the university. So one of the things I want to address is basically, not losing sight of the target. You guys need to understand that you're going to college for a reason, right? You want to become something better than whatever it is you're doing at maybe a minimum paying job, which, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you're presented an opportunity, to move forward and pursue a career that you might be more passionate about than flipping burgers, you definitely want to take advantage of that opportunity. And as a matter of fact, I almost lost that opportunity, or at least it felt like it, when I started, to goof off, not do what I needed to keep up my grades, and kind of just focusing on other things rather than, school itself. So one of the main distractions that I had that limited my studying time was my job. I think that working while you're going to school is perfectly fine, like sometimes it's basically necessary. I know, coming from a low-income family, it's really important for me to always be working. Like, I cannot be unemployed at all. I've only been unemployed, I think, once for a period of like a week and a half, since I was 16, and that was the worst week and a half of my life because I have bills, believe it or not, and responsibilities, and I'm not the type of person that can depend on my parents. So starting my first year in college, I did start with a full-time job. I was working at T-Mobile in Santa Ana. So as you can see, I had to drive back and forth between the two, especially since I worked, I lived in the dorm. I had to get myself a car to drive back and forth and be able to go to work and be on time to my classes. So I know one of the main things I did was that sometimes I'd miss class to go to work because I thought, they're paying me to go to work. But then I would forget that I paid for the class. So really, what's more important, And I didn't make that time to study after classes, to take notes, because I was always focused on working, making the money to pay for tuition and to pay for classes and books and whatever it is I needed. I ended my first quarter with a 1.2 GPA. It gives me the shivers just letting that sink in. A 1.2 GPA, you guys, which got me into academic probation. So there I am, my second quarter, thinking, oh, I'm going to do so much better this quarter, I'm going to start making time to study, this, and that. But I didn't quit my job. I continued thinking that, okay, now that I learned from my first quarter, I know that my second quarter I can do better. Wasn't much of a difference because I ended my second quarter with a 1.6 GPA. So here I am, for the second time, placed on academic probation, which thankfully they did, because I was a major in the School of Humanities. They allow you those two, attempts to get it together. But let me tell you that not every school is the same. I know, the School of Engineering will only give you one academic probation period, and after that period, they kick you out of the major or whatever it is. So it's not that nice. Thankfully, my third quarter, I was able to pay for all my fees and let go of that full-time job and get a part-time, And I knew that because of how much my GPA had suffered the previous quarters, I literally had to be an all-star my last quarter, because the cumulative GPA for the overall year was what was going to determine if I stayed in school and if I still got my financial aid. Because you guys remember that you have to maintain a 2.0 GPA basically to get your financial aid, and to stay in school. So I had to work hard for it. One of the main things I did was I started going to office hours, believe it or not. Just, even if I didn't have a question, I came up with a question that I didn't know, maybe, or something not related to it, but, somehow could be tight end, whatever it is. Like, I would go ask those questions so that the professor or the TA, started becoming familiarized with me, started to see, oh, the student really is putting in the effort. She wants to do good, in my class. So when it comes to that, 79.9, they'll just boost you up because, oh, this is Jennifer, that one student that comes in all the time, with their dumb questions or whatever. But they know that you're committed, that you want to do well, so they'll help you out. Another thing is making sure that you review your notes each and every day. I cannot, maybe not on the weekends, but like at least the weekdays, like, after a lecture or after you take a few notes, just review them just so that they're in there, that you're working that information consistently and you don't forget it. So when it comes to the time for the midterm or the final, you can recall that information immediately, because I know sometimes it's really hard to retrieve that information from your brain. It's normal. And you guys might think, oh, she's going to say right now, do not procrastinate. Well, yeah, I'm going to say it because it's one of the biggest issues apparently with students. Everyone decides to procrastinate, and it's terrible. Absolutely terrible, It might get you through high school, but trust me, it will not get you through college. It will not. It's not going to cut it, There's all these people competing for your spot, all these other kids who don't procrastinate, and you're here thinking that you're going to make it through by doing so. Like, it's not going to work. Overall, let me just say, thankfully, by putting all these things into practice, all this advice that I decided not to take my first few quarters, I was able to end my last quarter on the Dean's Honor list with a 3.6 GPA, which overall pulled my cumulative GPA over a 2.0, and I was able to save my book. So as you can see, these things, it pays off, really, putting in the effort and the hard work. It really does. It's just a matter of you guys putting it into practice. I can't, force you to do these things. Maybe you just, you think you can do it on your own. I know I decided not to take a lot of advice as seriously as I should have. But hey, I learned on the first account, but I got lucky, and not everyone is as, gets that same luckiness, I guess, or are placed in the same situations. I mean, if you go to a private, or if you decide to go to Cal State, out of state, I don't know how those things may work out. Obviously the systems are different. I got 3 quarters, so it was 3 different tries. I know if we were semesters, I might not have been able to pull it together. But I just really hope you guys take these pieces of advice into consideration. I hope you guys nothing but the best as you pursue your majors, careers, or whatever it is you do. And overall, I just hope you take my mistakes to learn from them. But yeah, thanks for listening, guys.